Once I was reading, I'm sure most people know the comedian Amy Schumer, but she has a book and she has a whole chapter on her being an introvert. And I was reading that chapter going, what? And I was like, that's me. That's me. That sounds like me. And so I did a little bit more research about what being an introvert versus an extrovert means, and knowing that you can actually be both. But how do you honor that? And I started putting that into practice and realizing that when I do feel that anxiety, like I just don't want to do that, or that feeling keeps coming up for me, that means I really don't want to do it. And I don't have to. And resting became a huge part of my person, my belief system, my action. And if I just feel like I can't do it right now, then I just don't.
Hello, welcome back to the Feel Podcast today. I'm here with a friend that if you follow our platforms, you know, she is my I call her my ride or die network friend. I mean, she just comes on all the adventures with me. She was the first to say yes to the radio show when we did that in 2024. She was the first to say yes to every panel, every adventure, every Substack Live, every podcast, everything. She's just, and everybody needs one of those people in their life. But she's also, in all of this, being this wonderful friend, she has had an evolution of her own in how she shows up for women and the support that she provides for people in general, and how this contributes to their wellness in a way that you might not think about, but it's actually very succinctly tied. And I will tell you, I personally experienced this myself this spring when she helped me in this area. And it was amazing to me what the benefit of my nervous system. And I leave my closet door open right now. You guys might have seen me do a reel about it on Instagram because of this work that she's always had a knack for. And she figured out, wait a minute, I think I can help other people with this too. And it just feeds so beautifully into the layers narrative and the emotional, mental, physical health narrative, the boundaries narrative of what you will and won't allow in your spaces. So much to it. But she's a full human. We're going to talk about the whole experience and not just that piece of it. But thank you, my friend Rachel Lavin, for coming back with me today. I forgot to ask you this before we hit record, because I was telling you before I got on, I'm feeling a little tired this morning. Let the world know the character traits that you would like to be known by in this moment.
Oh, non-judgmental, loyal, and kind.
And you are all these, like, Rachel's the friend that has that funny message in your DMs in the morning. And she's got that cheerleader, like, you were doing great in the brain, just in the moment you need it. She's just that supportive person and knows how to show up. What I love about that is it's always been a part of her, but you used to sacrifice yourself for the good of that and do that for everybody else and not yourself. Now you do it for yourself, which allows you to do it so much fuller, more authentic, feeling good as you do it. So you show up even brighter than you did before in that, which leads nicely into the self-care piece, because that is part of your self-care. We talk about self-care in terms of movement. You have been You're an instructor you've been in gyms, you've helped people with their health. You've got a whole book about your own journey with the Health Donut Diaries. But that self-care piece is so much about that inside work you do on yourself, so you know your value and can show up within it. Talk to me about how that continues to evolve for you, even since the last time you were on the podcast, which is going to be a couple of years ago by this time this drops.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I just, I realized when I started this journey almost 13 years ago that it was never going to end, right? I mean, I definitely have had much more peace and much more happiness and contentment and have been happy, but challenges come up. I was just sharing with you that there's a challenge going on with a person in my life just before we hit record. So challenges happen. But I think the beauty in people's evolution, and especially mine, is that I don't have to participate. I don't have to get involved. I am just one person, and I can be a sounding board. But I've learned that people don't want to help themselves, myself included, that it is a drain on my resources, spiritually, energetically, mentally, emotionally, if I allowed that to be a part of my life. And I've learned, because I do have a big heart, I always have, that when someone is in dire straits or needs help or whatever, I do feel guilty if I can't be there for them. But if my offer is to help, let me help you help yourself, and that doesn't fly, then I've learned it's okay for me to walk away. It really is. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person or I don't care. I can't do the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah, that right there. And that, my friends, is a component of self-care. So I know that's a different frame than we usually take on self-care, but that really, when Rachel and I were talking beforehand, that really piqued something in me. Like, let's address this part of self-care, because this is a part of it too, which goes nicely into confidently setting boundaries. You have a boundary, a self-prescribed boundary for what you will and won't engage in, where your point is like, I've offered you help. I can't make you do this. Here's the resources. Now I'm going to step away. When you're ready to talk about this more, if there's any way I can support you in this, let me know. That is another component, the piece of this that feeds really nicely into that self-care piece and the healthy boundaries. But talk to me about, even in the last couple of years, what you've learned even more about healthy boundaries.
I think that I've learned that having boundaries, having a hard stop when it comes to people, places, situations, I just walk around this planet just in a lighter place. I just do. And it makes me actually feel that I'm providing a better service, that my outlook and that my choices in life are much healthier and much more engaging with other people who meet me where I'm at. And I think that because I've learned that evolution is not momentary, that it's I'm going to evolve until the day I leave this earth, that makes me happy. It makes me realize and just instills in my head and my thinking and in my heart. It's like, this is hard, but it's momentary, and I will get through this. And I think that some people feel so stuck in their stuff and they don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. And that comes from lack of skills that you can learn. You can be taught and teach yourself and work on, which I did. So I think that evolving for me is a beautiful word. And I think that once we learn that it's forever, I think that it just becomes easier to deal with the things that go on in our day-to-day life.
Yeah. It takes the pressure off of having to arrive somewhere. Like, we understand it's like, no, let's continue. I'll continue to learn. I've got these resources. Sometimes I'll make a mistake. Sometimes I'll engage a little too far and then I'll pull back. I mean, I was talking to you before we got on about, I literally talk about this stuff all the time. And yet I have, extended my boundaries to a place where I'm really tired now because I wanted to reach a certain space. And so now I recognize, okay, within that means this coming weekend, I got to step out for a couple of days completely because I have not honored the normal boundaries that I would have. So you learn that. And there's also times and spaces things come up. I will also say, as much as I shouted you out for showing up, you have boundaries around that. It's like, if the time doesn't work, you let me know. If that's can't be at that one today, got this other commitment. So you're never abandoning yourself as you do this. You're showing up in a way that allows you to be authentic and your full self and give all of that, but not in a way where you're like, well, I got to show up for her because she needs me and I always do. And, it's very much within a very healthy realm. And that's a gift and an act too, where you're able to say, no, not that time. No, not right now. Not this time, but let me know later. I mean, that's a really healthy flow to get into also, I think.
I agree. And being comfortable in your own skin to say no without guilt and think, oh my God, if I don't say yes, then she's never going to ask me again. Or, all the things we as women do to ourselves to derail any kind of growth. I just don't allow that. But you also have to be that kind of person that accepts my boundaries, right? And you do all the time. You do. Like if I do say, hey, Melissa, I just can't make it tonight. You don't give me any crap. You don't say, oh God, I really needed you there. You're like, okay, see you next time. So I do have to say that in my learning, it has been helpful and easier to engage with people like that who meet you where you're at. And I just think those people who guilt you and pressure you and manipulate you into doing what they want, that's not a real partnership or a friendship.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not the way to engage in any of your relationships. I mean, even taking it to a work level. I mean, I think that these boundaries are important in our personal relationships, but also in our workspaces, in our community spaces, in our neighborhood spaces. And having that, those interactions allows you to continue to thrive in that relationship, whatever it might look like. And then also when you're the one with the boundaries and the other people don't have that fixture in your life, you kind of informs how much you want to engage and be part of that circle. I mean, I think that's an important piece too. All right. Taking care of our emotional health, physical health, mental health. You're very aware of this. You talk about this a lot in your work and your own evolution over time. And now you've added this new piece to it that I think I know I did. I shouldn't probably put this out on people. Maybe other people realize this better than I do. But I think people underestimate the value of an organized space, of your space not being chaotic, of not walking in a room and like, oh, close the door because I just can't look at it because it stresses me out. And so this is something that's always been a natural part of you. And then you realize, so talk about the evolution of realizing this is something you could help other people with, and then talk about the impact you see when you're able to help people in this way.
Absolutely. I thank you so much for allowing me to do this because it is an extra component of my wellness career. And it really does tie in very deeply to what I've done for 25 years. So, and it was interesting because it just kind of happened organically, naturally, with no roadblocks, however you want to describe it. But a neighbor came and saw my closet and wanted me to pay me to do it for her. And I had really never thought about monetizing my organizational skills because, again, I just thought it was something that came to me naturally. I did it for myself. But I took her up on her offer, and it just made me feel so good. And to see her face like just relax because she could find everything and everything made sense. And she said, can you do my whole apartment, please? And I did it. And again, it just made me feel good. But I think what makes me a little different is I want my clients, whoever I'm organizing for, I want their input, right? Some people just say, do it, organize, but no, that's not going to work for your lifestyle. If I organize it the way I would, I need to organize it for your lifestyle. So engage with me. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you see, as what the end result you visualize. And so that has really helped me in creating this as a second business that people who hire me know that this is something that's supposed to be functional for you. It's supposed to create less stress. It's supposed to make you feel peaceful in your own home. That, like you said, when you walk into that area, whether it be a whole room or a closet or a pantry, that you don't want to pull your hair out. It's like, oh, there's my rice. Oh, there's my dresses. There's my shoes. There's my broom. Whatever it is, you see it, right? And I realized that in home organizing, that if you can see it, you don't overspend because you can't find something. Your stress levels stay low because you see it. And 3, it just becomes something that is a part of you. You reach for something because you know it's there. And
Yes.
I think a lot of times when you see people's like in movies, and it's supposed to be funny, right? But there are people who can't find something, and that angst and that anxiety is real. And I just want to help with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll give myself as an example. I'm going into the closet. I'm looking for the dress for that event I've got with my husband for an event we've got to be at. I'm not like, I can't find it. Where's the stupid thing? I don't have anything to wear. It's like, oh, it's right there. Because I've got things in color order, length order. I know exactly where to go in my closet. I might have to go through a few of them to find it, but I know exactly where to go. I know exactly where it is. I pull it out. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm running late. I recorded for an hour longer than I thought. And now I can't find this stupid dress. And I got to catch the Uber. I mean, everything starts stirring. And by the time you get to the event, you're like, ugh. And, you gotta, exactly. Where's the wine? If I'm going to engage with anybody, you better get me a drink right now so I can settle. I mean, that's just not a way you want to go into anything.
Right.
That was it. So, I mean, the point I want to make with this too, Rachel is in South Carolina and she can get to you Carolina folks, but she can also help you with this online over FaceTime. I'm in California. Rachel's in South Carolina. It's like a Jody Messina song. It's her California Tales, California. Go back to your 90s country music list. But I FaceTimed with her. We walked through my space, the closet. She looked around at my surrounding bedroom and she's like, okay, what do you want trying to do here? What would you like to do here? What do you visualize here? It's like, this is what I'm thinking. This is what's bothering me. This is what's making me crazy. And then she gave me a list of things. She's like, okay, you're going to need to invest about $200 if you to get this where you really want it to feel doable to you. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. I mean, I'd already planned this out, talked to my husband and he was like, yes, we've got to do something about this because it was honestly driving him more crazy than me because we went from having a very large closet with built-in shelving in our previous home to a much smaller closet in this home here. And now that we have it organized, it's fine. It's totally fine. Like, I don't go in there and I'm like, oh, this closet's so small because she gave me the list. I took a day. I ordered the things that weekend. I'm like, okay, I'm going to put it all together. And I took some before pictures and sent them to her. I did some videos. I did some during. I did some after. And by the, at the end of that weekend, I was like, oh my gosh, look at what has happened here. And now everything's in a place where it makes sense. My husband's no longer asking me where X, Y, and Z is. And I'm like, I don't know, under there somewhere. I mean, we're walking in, we're grabbing, and we're going. And it's not this thing I'm trying to hide. Like, oh my God, I got to close my closet door and close my bedroom door so no one can see into my closet. I mean, it's just that on the daily, if you take into consideration the frustration factor when you every time you walk into a space, one, I'm not buying dresses I don't need because I can find the one I already have. Two, I'm not like, because many times I do like to I am notorious for pushing and like, I can get a little more done. I can get a little more done before I get ready for this event and go. And I'm notorious for that. So I'm usually sprinting in, flying in the shower. Now I'm just grabbing, putting on. That is the least stressful part of my, experience now. Anxiety level's not there. I'm not driving up my cortisol levels. I'm not entering an event at hypervigilant level. That's just me. That's one example. Brady's not waking me up at 5 a.m, asking me where his underwear is. I mean, where his socks are. Do I have any undershirts left? Where? What? It's just there. So what it's done for both of our mental and emotional health. So I know I spent a lot of time on that, but think about your spaces. And if you don't know what to do, Rachel can help you no matter where you are in the world. FaceTime is a wonderful thing. She can walk you through it. She's there as a resource. I could have utilized her more. Once she gave me a template, I was able to go and do it. But she offered, she's like, listen, if you get stuck, give me a call. Let's schedule a time. I can help you. I'll be there for you. Like, she's really there to show up for you how you need. Probably the next thing I need to have her help me with is my pantry, but that will be for another day. And I didn't think about that till this morning when I looked in there, and I was like, ugh, that is. And so anyway, I know that this has been something that has been really, and also I want to mention the impact it has on you, knowing, sometimes we have these gifts that, and they're things that we're good at that are really helpful, but we don't really ever think about putting them in the context of helping someone else. And until someone brings it up, like you had, now you get this additional, like if people come and they're working with you in any way, you can add this other thing to and ask them, have you thought about I know you're working on moving more. I know you're working on fueling your body well. Part of fueling your body well is being able to access what you need in your kitchen. Can you find what you need in your kitchen? If you can't, I can help you with that too. I mean, it's just, or if you're looking for those walking shoes or walking clothes or stuff to go to the gym, can you find it? Do you have it? I mean, there's a nice segue into how this breathes into everything you're already doing.
Right.
Yeah.
It really does. And I'm so grateful that, I was worried when I decided to take a chance on the home organizing. I've been in fitness and wellness for 25 years and I wasn't switching careers. I was adding, and I was worried. And I talked to you about this, like, how is this going to make sense to people? How is this going to, but I think the more that I've relaxed and just kind of stepped into my place in this whole thing, it is making sense. And the people who need me will find me. And the people who might be confused, they can ask, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that opens the door to conversations.
Right. I had a woman, are you still organizing? If so, can you? And I, so once we got to know each other, it's like, I still do all the things. Mm-hmm. And so that leads me into conversations about health and about nutrition and about my book. And so it is, even though you're hiring me for one thing, it does open a door to other things. And the beautiful part of it is that it is all connected. So I feel like I'm in the right place, the right space at the right time. And I mean, just learning how to develop both things that make sense for me.
Yeah. And it's now Rachel Lavin Lifestyle and Wellness, because your lifestyle is part of your wellness. I know I keep connecting the dots here, but I really just, by the time you guys listen to this, I've just finished writing an online course, and it'll go out to the whole world July 1st. It's out in limited edition right now at the time we're recording. By the time you're going to hear this in the fall, all out to the world, totally available. But one of the things that came to me in all of this is how all these things are so interconnected, and how we need to make sure we're talking about our wellness at not just a granular level, but a connectivity level, and how all these pieces play a part in this. And that's what you're doing with this. You're bringing all these components together to create this, which goes nicely into supporting ourselves and other women in living unapologetically. You have this nailed. You show up for yourself unapologetically. You show up for your people unapologetically and support them in their journeys. I talked to you about earlier about you're the one that's got the funny meme, the supportive message, the sharing, the collaborating, the first one to show up, the first one to say yes, all those things. I mean, sure, Rachel didn't have a Substack or know how to set one up, but she said yes to the Substack Live. And then Jessica on my team helped her set it up, and we had a great experience. Like, she doesn't and that's unapologetic. That's not letting, I don't know how to do that. I guess I can't do that. Like, you are like, that doesn't stop you. Your curiosity, your confidence enable you to really do this for yourself and then also do it for others. And so it doesn't just, it flows out in your work and how you show up, but it flows out in who you are as a person. Talk to me about that transition of going from showing up for everyone else, but not yourself, to showing up for yourself and everyone else in such a more holistically healthy way.
Absolutely. I mean, I love to tell people that I am a introverted extrovert. So that means that I can be social, I can be around people, I love it, but I also, there's like a hard stop for me. And I definitely did not honor that in my past. I would give, I would do things that, and again, I remember feeling like you said, you would be asked to do something, and the first reaction in your gut was like, I don't want to do this, but I would force myself to do things because that was the expectation of me. And I did it with family. I did it with friends. I did it with anything. And once I was reading, I'm sure most people know the comedian Amy Schumer, but she has a book and she has a whole chapter on her being an introvert. And I was reading that chapter going, what? And I was like, that's me. That's me. That sounds like me. And so I did a little bit more research about what being an introvert versus an extrovert means, and knowing that you can actually be both. But how do you honor that? And I started putting that into practice and realizing that when I do feel that anxiety, like I just don't want to do that, or that feeling keeps coming up for me, that means I really don't want to do it and I don't have to. And resting became a huge part of my person, my belief system, my action. And if I just feel like I can't do it right now, then I just don't. Because when I do give myself that grace and I do rest and I do say no to that one thing that I really don't want to do, when I do say yes to something, I have a great time and I feel so replenished and nourished. And so when you kind of keep stacking those experiences on, you learn how to do that. You learn how to show up for people when it really matters, and you learn how to say no to the things that are not going to do either parties any good, you know?
Yeah. That rest piece, I tell you, that rest piece is an important component of your self-care, of your healthy boundaries, of your emotional, mental, physical health. Let me tell you, I'm way more irritable when I'm not rested than I am when I am. And what kind of experience do I want to have with myself? Do I want other people to have with me? I mean, there's just so many pieces and parts of that you need to be mindful of, you know, for yourself and for others, how they experience you. I mean, I love the way, so thank you so much for how you set that out. I think just being so mindful and aware and acknowledging like the difference, like, oh, wait a minute here, because I think that, and I'm glad you brought up the extroverted introvert piece. I think there's far more of those people that exist in the world for so many years. So we're just introvert, extrovert, introvert, and there was no nuance, no, you know, in between. Now we've got ambivert in there, and we're talking about it more. My husband is an extroverted introvert. Nobody in his workspace or that he interacts with would call him an introvert. But let me tell you, when he comes home and we're not having to be at events, that man wants to be with very few people outside of his core people. He wants to rest. He wants to be with those people. He doesn't want to go out and socialize other ways. He doesn't want to have a bunch of people over to our house. And he wants to refill and re-energize. And so that he can show up in those spaces in that way that's authentic to him. So also too, I think another way to think about that is when you look at the people in your life, you know, if you're not, you know, you don't assume like, oh, she's an extrovert. Of course she'll say yes. Maybe she shows up in spaces when she's felt that way, but maybe she doesn't, you know, so really fully extroverted people get energy from groups and people that they're with. Whereas, you know, people, extroverted introverts can show up as an extrovert, but they need to go back and fill. That doesn't fill them. It takes from their energy. And once they've given that all away, they got to go back and refill because they don't get the same. So I think it's important to consider that too in your interactions with people and what we ask of people, and not making assumptions about that, but also honoring yourself in that way. And, you know, being mindful of those things of like, oh, so-and-so expects me to show up this way. What do you expect of yourself? And how can you honor yourself to make sure you're showing up in a way that's honoring to them as well? So yeah, thank you for that. So good. All right. The importance of setting and coming back to your why and your values and everything you do. The why and values component ended up being a very big component of this decision to take the home organization piece and incorporate it into what you're already doing. You were able to do that. And I love the way you honored that. And I think because sometimes other people don't always understand what we're doing. Like, for me, it's like I've continued to add components to this network, I'm not trying to just be one thing. I want to meet women where they are and have as many resources available to them. The common denominators, I want you to all have this feel framework access. And I want you to access it in a way that feels authentic to you. So that might be through the podcast or our panel shows or my online course or our book or our Substack, lives where we meet other authors and get to read their books. It might look a lot of different ways, but the common denominator is that feel framework. For you, the common denominator was that health piece. This is an enhancement of health. And sometimes when you get pushback from people like, I don't understand, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, well, let me explain that to you. And you don't let that stop you from trusting yourself and taking that step forward. So, and I have to believe your why and values piece played a very big piece in this decision.
It did. I just think you and I have had this conversation together on panels that helping people just comes naturally to me. It's just something that I always knew I was meant to do, to be. It's just never been a question. How I do that has changed over the years. But like you said, when I decided to help my neighbor and I saw what it did for her and her lifestyle, I just wanted to try and see what that would feel like to help people in this way. And when people come to me and they're literally at their wits' end because they cannot figure this out on their own, they feel shame. They don't want people to come into their homes. All these emotions are when it comes to having a disorganized home. And I use that word in the least shameful, the least judgmental way possible, because life gets away from us, right? We get stuck a lot of times in our lives, whether it be because of a loss, because it's, we could sit here and list things all day long, but we all get stuck. And to move forward, I am so grateful that we have now in the last decade or so, especially women, have finally realized it's okay to ask for help. And I think that's why home organizers are doing so well, because it's like, I have 5 kids. I have 2 jobs. I have a husband that works all the time. I have no time to worry about a pantry. Help me. Right. So or my partner died and I have all his stuff and I feel guilty about letting it go. I mean, these are some of just the experiences in the past 2 years that I've been doing the home organizing that I've heard. And so even though the situations may be different, the bottom line is I cannot do this by myself. Please help me. And so that's what I hear. That's what I tune into. And that's what I want to do. I want to help you get unstuck. I want you to walk into your home and go, and I do use that example a lot, because when you're feeling overwhelmed, are you relaxed? Of course not. And that shows up in, pain in your body. It shows up in, how do you feel on a day-to-day basis? Do you have headaches? Do you have stomach ache? I mean, pain and stress manifest pretty equally, in my opinion. And I think that once you kind of declutter your space in your home, then it gives you so much freedom to take care of yourself. And when I hear people say, I have this cute little old man I'm organizing for, and every time I come, he's like, oh my God, I got off another medication. And it's like, I hope you're putting 2 and 2 together, buddy, that this it's making you feel better. It's making you want to do better. It's making you want to take care of yourself in other ways. And that's the gift, right?
Yeah. And it allows people to honor their own why and values, because when you get stuck, you all of a sudden you lose sight of, like, you don't feel like you have choices. So you don't feel like you can live because you're just stuck in this space and you're kind of frozen. And when you can give them the gift by acting out of your own value of being able to give and help and support, you're able to help them get back to get access to themselves and their health and their values and their why. And they remember what excites them, what energizes them, because they're not consumed with this thing they're surrounded with that takes so much more of their capacity than they're realizing. So I think that's a huge component of it too, is we have no idea the capacity we're giving away when we are in these situations. And when you're able to come in and give them their capacity back, the impact it has on and being able to reconnect with themselves and who they are and what they value and what they care about and how they want to show up in the world. So I think that there's a both and going on there too that's so important. I love that. I love that story. I love that connection piece, which this goes really nicely into living out of your own expectations versus others. This has been a very authentic journey for you that you have moved into. Talk to me about what you continue to learn about that, because you continue to follow that, but that's not a space you've always incorporated. And we talked about that a lot more the first time around, but I've watched you continue to grow into this in this season of life.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think the most important message that I keep receiving when I continue to home organize for people is when they first start with me or they contact me to help them, there's tears, there's overwhelm, there's stress, there's all this, negativity surrounding them. And so the beauty of my experience as a health coach and personal trainer is that I can come in and say, it's okay. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to be where you're at. And I'm here to help you. Like when they hear, it's almost kind of I kind of want to cry about it, because when someone can, gently say to you, I'm here to help you, and to see like a visual breath of relief come out of these people, I love it so much. And I'm also experiencing some people who I can kind of see they're just not ready, right? I mean, I want to hire you. Can you just help me? And then we book an appointment and then they make up an excuse not to do it. And I realize a lot of people, they're just, they can't see past their shame, right? They cannot see past, like, I cannot let this person in my home so they see what a disaster I am. And when I get that vibe from people, I just always say, I'm here to help you. I'm not judging you. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, but I don't take that personally, because, in my own life, my own experience, when I didn't understand that dieting was actually hurting me more than it was helping me, but I was like, no, I have to do it this way. I have to starve myself. I have to restrict. I have to do all these things, because I believed at the time that it was the right way to do it or go about it. So I get that mentality more than I think some of my home organizing clients understand. So I definitely meet people where they're at, and I'm here when you're ready.
And I think in doing this, because it's such a tangible thing, like you get to the results you get to see. It's a visually like there too. You get to help them shift their own expectations about themselves in their life. They move out of shame. They move out of feeling disorganized and cluttered and embarrassed. They're able to shift their view of themselves. They're able to see what's possible. And I think that, so you're, whether they even realize it or not, you're also helping them shift their expectations of what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's so great. All right. Accepting the layered aspects of yourself. This is such a key component of the journey. It's a journey you and I are have been on and continue to be on. And we recognize, and you said it earlier, that it is a journey. We're not arriving here and then we'll just be done with it. We're continuing to learn, evolve, grow, unfold, unpack. So you've continued to do that. Talk to me about that layers journey and what you continue to learn about yourself in the layers journey.
I learn every day about who I am as a person, who I am as a woman, who I am just in all my relationships. And I think that when I'm up against some kind of negativity or I'm up against some kind of learning experience, I am so much more kinder to myself and much more gentler with myself now than I would have been even, a decade ago. That, oh, okay, this is part of the process. There's still something in my mind or my emotions that is unhealed. And I think that when I come from a place of I'm still healing, that I don't know if this makes sense to you, but it's just like I open up even more, because I think when I made the decision on my 40th birthday, almost 12, 13 years ago, I can't remember if I'm going to be 52 or 53, but that's okay.
Number.
Exactly. Who cares? I just remember thinking that I was never going to be happy. Like I was never going to feel the way I feel today. And so knowing that that gift is my life now, that's something that I thought I was striving for or wanting, but I was never going to get it. So if something does come up and I have to peel back the layers, like you use those words, it's a simple step now. It's like, okay, I need to sit in this. I need to learn. I need to understand. But it does make me feel good knowing that I have the skills and the consciousness to sit in it. Right. So even though I'm in my partner, my honey bunny, he always, like, when I do get like aggravated, he's like, you can't be nice 99% of the time. And he uses that word because he doesn't know a different word. And then get angry. And I educate him all the time. I'm like, I absolutely can. Because emotions are momentary. It doesn't change who I am as a person. If I'm frustrated with what's happening right now, it's just because the skills of how to deal with it aren't coming to me. So I'm frustrated. But I know now to step back, don't react, talk to somebody about it, meditate about it, whatever I need to do, or ignore it for a day until I can, think clearly.
Tend to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in my 20s and 30s, react. And like nothing ever got resolved because I wasn't capable of learning how to resolve something or look at it and go, this doesn't even warrant my energy, and just like walk away. And I think that learning those skills is a layered thing that we learn as we evolve and as we live our life, right? I mean, maybe 20, you're not supposed to have these skills in your 20s. I don't know, but it is nice to know that who I was, I'm no longer. And who I am today, I'm not going to be tomorrow. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. Such a good description of all of that. Thank you so much. All right. And this goes nicely into in living out feel, finding empowerment, embracing layers. Tell me about how that has impacted your relationship with yourself today versus before, and your relationship with other people. And we've really touched on this throughout already, but kind of bring that home for us.
Of course. Oh my goodness. If you just were in my head in my 20s and 30s, you'd be like, oh my God, you're so mean to yourself. I mean, I just felt betrayed by my body for so long that I was incapable of loving myself. I couldn't be nice to myself. They always do that test, that personality test, and they want you to name 3 things you love about yourself. And I would literally be like, I can't think of one. And I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the things that I would say to myself or think about myself or say to other people about me, that's sad. It's terrible. And I just can't even fathom or imagine speaking to or about myself like that ever again. It took so much work. It took therapy. It took journaling. It took affirmations. It took practice to even look at myself, my own self in a mirror and say, I love you. You are beautiful. You are smart. You are kind. You are a good friend. All the things I did not believe about myself, they were always true. I just didn't know. Yeah. And so, I do tell people a lot in my work. It's like, this just takes time, and it does take work on your part to love yourself. But once you do, nobody can take that from you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it changes how you show up in relationships. You now have healthy boundaries. You now are not afraid to say no and yes to things, so that when you show up, you're now honoring the fact that you are an extroverted introvert. I mean, there's so many components that impact how you show up in your relationships. You're able to communicate to your partner. No, actually, I can experience multiple emotions at one time, and I'm not going to stuff that one because we're nuanced. And even if this one is true 99% of the time, that other thing can come in and be a part of it. You're able to express that, understand that. I mean, there's so many pieces and ways that it's all connected in how we interact with other people when we know how to interact with ourselves in a healthy way. I mean, it just changes everything. So good. Thank you so much for that. All right. We're down to the rapid fire. Name 5 activities that nourish you.
Sitting on my butt on the couch on a Sunday afternoon with my honey, watching old action movies, for sure. Waking up grateful and having those few moments with the universe and just saying thank you. I love my me time, my spending time by myself, and going to the gym is like therapy for me. So my, 4 to 5 days a week of exercise is my time, and I cherish that. And the 5th and final one is actually having my time with my besties and, shooting the shit and laughing and being silly. And that makes me feel good too.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the being silly part. We need laughter and silliness and joy for no good reason other than that we get to feel it. And it's so good for us. It's such an important part of our health and wellness to make space for that and allow that in. I think thank you for pointing that out. That's so good. All right. 5 words on how you want to feel the next 6 months.
I want to feel fearless. I want to feel peaceful. I want to feel happy. I want to feel exhilarated. And I want to feel, I want more experiences. I don't know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I get that. Experience life more. Absolutely. All right, my friend, tell people how they can find, and Rachel's all over all of our stuff, but she's got some updated information, and we're going to update the resources page to make sure it's accurate. I think it is, but we'll make sure it's current. But tell people where they can find you, follow, access you if they want to work with you.
Absolutely. Well, my website is Rachel Lavin Wellness, and both my Organized by Rachel and my wellness are both there. So, but please find me on Instagram or Facebook under Organized by Rachel. I think that's where I am both. But anyways, Rachel Lavin, so you'll find me. You can't miss me.
No. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you so much. Any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with today?
I would love to leave your listeners with a little treat that I love to do for myself when I'm trying to experience growth is write it down on your favorite color Post-it and repeat it to yourself every day and every morning and every night for a week, and see how your mindset shifts and realize that all good things are possible. You have to believe.
Yeah. Ooh, there's your takeaway today, folks. That's it. We're going to wrap it up right there. Thanks so much, my friend, for joining me. I always enjoy our conversations. I'm so thankful to have you in my life and to know you and be able to continue to share the gift of you with our platform. So thanks for coming back and being with me today. Listeners, there's your takeaway. Run with that. Love yourselves well. Know you're valuable. Know you're worth investing in. Take good care, and we'll see you next time here on the Feel Podcast. Hello, and thank you so much for being with us today on this episode of the Feel Podcast. If you would like more information on how you can apply these talking points that I share with our guests in each episode to your own life, really utilize this Feel framework, go to embracinglayers.com, fill out our contact form, and let's set up a free 30-minute consultation to talk about how you can start living your most authentic, organic, healthy, feel-fueled life. Thanks again for being with us today. We'll be back to you soon with another episode here on the Feel Podcast.